Hello, welcome to another devlog for my 2D space game. Good morning. So today I want to get resources into the game. We have a car here. I balanced the gravity a bit so it actually behaves a bit more like you would expect. You can add a thruster to it and do some jumping. Then I've also changed it so different shapes can have different max impact. So now these wheels are very durable, but they break at some point. But that's pretty good. But the issue is this car runs indefinitely, right? Like, where is the energy coming from? So modules should have a way to define the cost of running. Like either like a one-time run or a continuous running. For example, for gyroscopes, which the wheels are, it would make sense that they cost electricity to run. So that sounds good. But then how do we get the electricity to them? So we'll need to add a new module, and this module is going to be a resource container. For example, for electricity, it might be a battery, which would be a subclass of the resource container. And then we put that on the car. We put the battery on the car, we fill it up with some electricity, and then we add some code to the wheels that checks that there is electricity in a container in the rig, and then we drain it. I have added so much code, I don't even know where to begin. Gyroscope now has a cost, 1 power. We have a consume cost method for the actions, and here we traverse all the connected modules in a shape. I'll tell you more of that later. The only module we have so far is a basic battery module. Here we start with some power, and whenever we activate the action, we first check if there's enough resources, and then we consume those. Enough talking, let's see it in action. So here we have a car. The wheels are gyroscopes that require power, and the body is a battery. We can now right click to see all the modules inside the shape. There's the gyro, same there, and here we can see the battery. We also see all the resources in the resource containers. Now I can go right and left, but it's consuming power. So we're at 3,500, use up a bit more, only have 1,500 left. And let's see if we can use up all of it. And there we go, out of battery. Now, nothing more happens. So this is pretty cool. Let's see, why don't we try fixing this? So let's put in a new battery here and put a normal square on this side. So now the right wheel is connected to the battery, but the square does not allow pass-through with the connections. So this gyro should not have access to this battery. It's a bit hard to test unless we just delete the planet and crash the game. Okay, I'm glad I found that bug. When we delete the body, I was going through all the bodies that's orbiting that body here, and then I set those parents, like the gravity parents, to none. But in here I have code to change the list. So it actually changes when I'm iterating it. So we skip some children sometimes. That's not good. So we just copy that list before iterating it. Let's us delete planet. Good. Okay, so 1 second. Battery on the right side, square on the left side. Well, we now have a battery in the middle too, but it doesn't matter. And now let's see. Only the right one should move. Yeah. I've added some code that increases the mass when we add a module with a resource collection. And when we take resources from a collection, we check if there's a shape, and then we subtract that mass from it. And power typically doesn't weigh much, but for the sake of showing you, it weighs a little bit. Starting off here, we have 5,000 power there. You can see the green circle is the sphere of influence because it's pretty heavy. So things could orbit this now. But let's drive a bit. Go right, turn back, stop, go forward, and back. You can see we've drained 2/3 of the power. And you can see the mass is reducing. And it's getting easier and easier to accelerate until we run out of battery. So this is really cool. Now let's do rocket fuel. So I've added a fuel resource. I'm saying that the thruster costs 1 fuel for the action. I've added a way to create fuel tanks, and I've created a basic fuel tank module that starts with 1,000 fuel. Let's see if it works. Let's build something new here instead. Fuel tank, 1000 fuel, very good. Change focus to this one. A thruster and a gyroscope. Should have built this further down. Wait, I can just move it. Shift click. Oh my god. Easy. Okay. All right, let's see. 1000 fuel. Here we go. First test flight. Oh, it's working. And land. Okay. I used up 300. So this is really cool. Let's just see how far we get. Okay, I think we ran out. Beautiful. And now we're gonna start thrusting, and I think it's too heavy now to lift, but as we burn off the fuel, it's gonna get lighter. Yes. Nice. Oh, that's so good. Perfect orbit. Let's go. Oh, all right. I noticed the resizing wasn't working properly. Here it works fine, but when we rotate, it jumps a lot. But then I also noticed, you see that yellow dot? The one you pull to resize? If you rotate, it travels faster. To calculate the local corner, I was rotating it manually, but then it gets rotated twice. So just remove that one. Resizing works there, and works perfectly there. Nice. So I found that the joints weren't being serialized. So if we save here and then load, then it just falls apart. But to fix it, we just add that we want to store the joints as well. I'm not too big of a fan of this structure though. Like the built-in pickle mix-ins that the engine has are pretty nicely done. And I got my own poor version of it. But it kind of works. But then I also have to set these properties to make that work. Because the constraints, they live in the space, but we're not serializing the space. When you set the joints, it just iterates them and adds them to the space one by one. And since the joints are inherently serializable, this seems to work nicely. I've been preparing this build to be the second release of the game, cleaning up some of the bugs. So there was this thing where if we focus this shape and we have it like this is on the side of the planet. So when I activate gravity camera, we rotate it a bit. But then I had an issue where when we were merging things to the shape, it would reset the camera to this because this shape lost its parent, and since we're paused, the parent wasn't calculated. And even when we split it, the camera stays the same as you would expect. We got an interesting little scene set up here on this medium planet, and then we have a smaller body orbiting there. And I think it's good to go. I've also added the controls in the escape menu. So here we automatically populate all the controls we're using. I always had this in mind. I'm very glad it worked. So I just had to put in some reverse logic to retrieve the name, like like A, because in the engine they're just numbers. I updated this so when we right click a single selected shape, then we get the same menu as if it's not selected. But then when we have multiple, we can see it there, that it's the special selection where we can create the pivot joints for now and also delete. I think it's good to go.